when we see Dungeons and Dragons, just like when Jamison first came up with the idea that we should give this a try, you think of the huge dorky nerd that has no social skills and has no life.
Lives in his mom's basement.
It lives in his mom's basement. Yeah, but that's just not the case. You know, it's one of those just negative stereotypes that exist, and you know, I admit that was kind of the way I thought until we gave this thing a try.
Art thou feeling it now, Mr. Crab?
But it's so much more than that. It's literally like reading a fantasy novel that there is no end of, that you're writing it as you go. It's, you know, imagine yourself stepping into Tolkien's world of orcs and elves and dwarves, but instead of reading about it or watching the movie, you are these characters. And you make the decisions that could form your story. And depending on what decision you make, the people you're playing with, what decisions they make, you determine what happens. Be it good, be it bad. You won't know until you give it a try. So it's been an eye-opening experience for me to really give it a shot. And I think because I know everybody in our group has been playing, I think we've kind of grown in it together and have really given us a chance to kind of branch out, try some new things. And it's really forced me to be more creative than I normally have been, because once I get outside the realm of music, my creative skill level I thought was about a -3. So it's really helped me branch out and find new parts of myself, I guess.
Yeah. Like when I was trying to describe it to you guys and to everyone, is like, okay, it's essentially, it's a cooperative storytelling experience, right? And the whole thing, the only difference with Dungeons and Dragons is you use a rules system to try to help prevent people from getting into arguments like, this happened, no it didn't, yes it did. So you use these rules and dice to add a layer of variability and probability and chance to all of the outcomes. So you could say, I'm going to try to do this, and then you roll, and then based on your stats and everything, you determine how successful or unsuccessful that, you know, chance to do something might have been.
You could certainly try to do
Exactly.
something.
Matt Mercer. All right.
That's right.
It can just turn into this fully improv storytelling experience that's unlike anything else. You're talking about like the stereotypical nerdy guy in his mom's basement or whatever. There's a lot of celebrities and stuff that play D&D, a few of which might surprise you. Like, if you think of D&D, you're probably not thinking Vin Diesel or Joe Manganiello or Manjiggly or whatever, however you say his name. Probably go with Manjiggly. But there's also people like Tim Duncan.
It blew my mind when we found
Tim
that
Duncan,
out.
what?
Avid sports fan, I couldn't believe that one.
But you have, you know, there's some people you know make a little bit more sense. You got like Mike Myers, Kevin Smith, Stephen Colbert. There's a few other ones on there too, like Jon Favreau. You got Elon Musk apparently plays the billionaire.
Yeah, super genius billionaire. Yeah,
you know, working on going to Mars or whatever right now. So there's that. There's just all these people that play. Will Friedle.
Chris Hardwick, I know.
Chris Hardwick, yeah. There's
example.
there's a ton of them. Usually just thinking of this skinny, scrawny guy, but then you got like Joe Manjiggly, these big old huge buff guy dancing and stuff, you know, and like Vin Diesel, like it's just kind of, you know, it's not just nerds and stuff playing this. It's everybody. That's the other thing too, is when you're saying like you're in Lord of the Rings and stuff. I actually did ask you, like when you guys were wanting to make characters, I said like, okay, if you're in Lord of the Rings, who would you be?
Yeah.
So they say like, I'd be like Gandalf. Be like, okay, you're gonna be a caster. You're gonna use magic and, you know, things to change situations around you, magic and stuff. Or you want to be like, I'm Legolas. Okay, you're a ranger. You use a bow and arrow.
Legolas.
You want to be Aragorn or Gimli. You're gonna be like a barbarian or fighter. So like, you use things that you relate to, and you can use that knowledge to give you a starting point for D&D. But why?
Yeah.
Why should you play it? That's
right. Why should I give it a shot? Why should I play? Well, there's so many benefits that I didn't really know would come from it. I mean, I'm an outgoing person. I've never been really all that shy. But like I said, I don't consider myself an overly creative person. So it really forced me, especially, you know, the couple times I've gotten behind the screen, as to say, and done that side of it. It really forces you to be creative and kind of really flex what muscles you may have. And if you're not that creative, like myself, I don't consider myself to be that way, it forces you to try new things. It forces you to see, okay, how can I create a fun encounter that maybe they haven't seen before? Try to throw in some different unique monsters. And then, you know, I'm somebody who loves ancient civilizations. I really like history, so I'm thinking, okay, what's a way we can make they're finding an ancient civilization. There's a hidden treasure lost in the jungle. One I did recently was a pirate theme. You throw sea monsters involved, and you got pirate ships, and you grappling hooks pulling the ships together amidst the storm, and they're fighting sea creatures in there. So there's so much, and it's just there's so much material out there for it, and it's literally the world is your oyster, and you can do whatever you want to do with it. But you just the big thing to remember is all your players, you got to be able to work together, because if you don't, it's going to make it a bad time for everybody involved. We talk a lot outside of gaming sessions to try to figure out, okay, and I'll tell him, I was like, Jamison, I thought it was really, really cool when he had this talking tree that had this funny voice and it was a puzzle. We had to figure out this tree can only say limited things, and okay, how do we make this tree say what he's supposed to say, where all we have to go on is some markings carved in his side and some legend, some old coot from a previous village told us some generic stuff about. We're not sure whether this old senile man knew all the details or not. And there's been other times where I've told Jamison, I was like, man, I really feel like that encounter was a little rough for us because there was so much going on. We recently dealt with this lichen tiger that had all these kinds of lair actions involved, that he literally had our big meaty barbarian frozen in the corner for literally 45 minutes of real time, who could not get in there and cut anything to pieces because he's paralyzed in place. And I'm trying not to like rage in my own self of, oh gosh, what do we do? Our big meaty guy over there has not moved in 30 minutes. This is crazy. But like I said, you've got to be willing to kind of go with the flow and stuff like that.
I would argue that playing D&D could actually make you smarter, just because.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's any argument with
that. You have to be able to solve problems and balance your abilities, and when you should use certain abilities and save them for later, and you're figuring out puzzle solving, like you were saying, and problem solving, and it just makes you think about things. Like, for example, say you're supposed to break into a castle or something, and there's a troll like chained in front of the door with like a big old mace. Okay, so you immediately have a couple options. You could just run up and just kill the thing and get past it.
You could certainly try anyway.
Yeah, you could try. Or you could slowly approach him and be like, hey man, we're here to help you, and you can maybe try to free him from his chains and see if he'll just leave you alone, because maybe he doesn't want to be there either. Or, you could maybe try to sneak around and find another way in. So like, you're just thinking, it makes you think about how to approach different situations, and seeing that there's not just one direct path to any solution. There's multiple ways you can try to approach something. I think just that is good in and of itself. And then also, if you get into like the RP, the role-playing, acting side of everything, it really is going to improve your improvisational skills, which are really good at when you're trying to converse with people and talk. Just because it makes you stay on your toes. Yeah, and if someone's like, hey, remember that time we went to that pub and we attacked that elf, and you're like, this literally never happened. So you're like, yeah, I remember, and like you just kind of go with it, So it helps you just be in the moment and improv and just be on your toes. And I think that's a skill that's good just in general day-to-day life.
Sure.
Just being ready.
And like I said, for those of you that are more shy characters, Jameis is not shy, but he's a lot more quiet than I am. Of course, most people are quieter than I am. It's part of being what I am, which is fine. This kind of universe allows you to step into a character and be maybe something you've always wanted to be, that maybe not have necessarily had the opportunity to try to be. You could be like me and be the big guy who runs around. I've never been, I was like, oh, I kind of want to play this quick, sneaky ranger. And I was like, I'm 6'2", 250. I'm not sneaking by anybody. But, I was like, oh, maybe I'll be this ranger and I'll try to sneak through with my pet wolf and pop somebody in the back of the head with an arrow, but they never saw it coming. That's like, I'd never be able to do that. It's something really, really cool. It gives you a chance to try something different and really open up your possibilities to see, well, if I can do that, maybe it lets you see what that's like. And then, okay, maybe I can really bring some of the aspects you learned about problem solving and puzzle solving and, how do you deal with crisis, with crisis. It's like, okay, everything's fine. All of a sudden, oh crap, the floor just fell underneath me, and now the walls are closing in around me. What the crap do I do? Instead of going into a panic, you check, okay, so calm down, I solve it. It's like, there's a way out of here, there has to be, and you solve it and you get out. And it just gives you opportunities to really try new things and really find a deeper part of yourself, I think.
Mm-hmm. The last kind of thing to mention is, if you're not all into the whole fantasy thing, you don't have to play it as a fantasy game. You could use the same rules from D&D and change everything to be like a sci-fi theme. Like, say instead of fighting goblins, you're fighting, aliens. the rules are very loose.
Sure.
They're supposed to be guiding. It doesn't have to be fantasy or sci-fi. It could be whatever you want. It could just be like a real day-to-day thing. You could be like walking to work, and you know, a thug comes out and tries to mug you. Like, if you want to do something like that, you could do it. It's just
Play front hand, backhand with that guy, knock him down. Key and Peele, folks, check them out. They're hilarious.
With that being said, I hope you guys are interested in at least looking into D&D a little bit more. And this will be part of an ongoing series where we'll just talk about D&D, what's coming, some books and stuff. You know, maybe if there's any news, maybe talk a little bit about Critical Role, if you don't know what that is.
That's a must check out. Oh,
definitely.
goodness.
Just pretty much everything in D&D world, we'll just try to stay updated with everything and just keep you guys informed.
Thanks for checking it out, guys. Always subscribe, hit the like button, leave comments for things you'd like to see in the future. We can do our best to cover everything we can.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.